I am Robbie, also known as Throttle, and I've been doing this for a while now, about 4 or 5 years, as Throttle. How did I start out? I started when I was about 13 or 14. I started DJing house parties, and yeah, from there I started learning how to make mashups and make DJ mixes on my computer and that sort of thing, and then that led into an interest in production. And yeah, I learned guitar when I was 8 or 9, so that sort of came into play as I was learning production. And yeah, it's been a gradual build since then. I started everything online pretty much, and I've only just started touring in the last 6 months. So it's all that stuff throughout my childhood, like all the online stuff, and has only really culminated in the last few months. It's happening very quickly. When I start songs, I usually hum into my phone. Like it's always at an inconvenient time, like 2 or 3 a.m. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have an idea in my head, so I'll hum it into my phone, and the next day I'll go in the studio and try to convert that into a song. Sometimes, that's how I usually do it. Sometimes I start something on the guitar and then translate that onto my computer. But it'll usually always start with the music. More recently, I've got into songwriting and writing a little bit to my own songs. So I might like be singing a hook all day and then sing that in and then build the track around that and get someone else to sing it later. But it'll usually start with a melody or something tiny and then go from there. Yeah, well, my sets are usually pretty impromptu. I try not to prepare too much. I used to prepare everything when I was 13 or 14. I think I had my first gig maybe when I was 15 as Throttle. I think I opened for Will Sparks, and I had like everything down to what second I was gonna play something. And yeah, usually it's really organized, what it used to be, but now I try to keep it pretty on the spot. I have all the songs of mine that I want to play, and then I just have a collection of other stuff that, depending on the vibe of the crowd, I go for. But I've always been more into the live music, so I won't, not tonight because it's not really the right vibe for it, but when I can, I bring out the guitar and incorporate live guitar. So when I do that, I try to think more about the set and when I can bring out the guitar, and then when I'll get on the microphone, because it has to all be pretty scheduled then. But for a DJ set, I keep it pretty on the spot. The touring schedule is going to be crazy. It's I can't believe I only started a couple of months ago. I've already done America twice and heading to Europe in a few weeks. So I think that's pretty much going to be my year, is just making music when I can and then touring the rest of it. I think compared to home in Australia, playing in America, the scene is so much bigger that you can play in these not smaller markets, not like Vegas is a small market, but you can play in places other than central cities and get a decent crowd and have a following there. Whereas in Australia, for someone like me who's more on the commercial side of the house, there's only really the 5 main cities that I could play yet. So yeah, it's amazing coming out here and having so many places that you can play, and the scene is so big over here compared to Australia, and it's blown up it's about probably a year ahead over here, I would say, as far as how much it's blown up and how commercial it is. So it's yeah, when you come over here, it's a bit of a culture shock in that there's so many people that are into dance music and there's so much opportunity over here. A lot of the crowds don't quite get the disco house sound yet, which is kind of nice. So I do tend to play a similar vibe to all crowds, and not that I'm educating people, but it's something new to most crowds, which is nice. So that yeah, anywhere I go, I play really disco, and it's good that it's a new thing. Some people will obviously hate it, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes in the Vegas clubs. But no, I try play similar wherever I go. Well, when I was growing up, JT was the first guy I ever saw. So he's been the figure that I would love to be since I was a kid. That was where my interest in live music came from, and the desire to incorporate a proper live show in the next 5-10 years. So yeah, he's been probably the biggest inspiration to me, just as a whole, like sound-wise, his stage persona, all that sort of stuff. And I'd love to work with him, obviously, but that's very long-term, if ever. Someone like Jamiroquai, I'd love to work with them. But also guys like poppy guys like John Newman, soul guys coming up like Charles Bradley is amazing. If you know him, yeah, he's amazing. Who else? Conrad Sewell is coming up from Australia, but he's also had some US success and he's amazing. He's got a bit of an MJ thing going on. Just anyone soulful, really. Hey, I'm Throttle and you're watching Grammy Pro.